After 20 years of building together through dust, deadlines, and damn good ideas, Pace and Adam invite you to join them for honest conversations about the home building world. Welcome to Build Connected, where experience meets insight, powered by Diamond Home Restoration.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Build Connected. I'm Pace.
And I'm Adam.
Good to see you again. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Build Connected. What's going on? What'd you get up to over the weekend, Adam?
Well, I was lucky enough for you to grant me some vacation time. So I was actually I was in Steamboat. So thank you. You're a great human for letting me take some time off. I don't
Last one of the year, right?
I never get to take time off, and you've got me working to the bone, so I appreciate that. It was a great week. I was out there with three of my best college buddies, and we had a good time. So could have used a little more snow out there, but I haven't skied that mountain since I was a little kid, so I didn't really even remember anything over there. So it was like skiing a brand new place, which is always enjoyable.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Well,
Yeah.
welcome back to work. Welcome back to the grind. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, let's get into a product. This particular product, it probably more relates to us as builders, but it also relates to our clients. And on the client side, it's just something to think about. And it's really about the software that we use in our everyday construction life to help organize projects, communicate with our clients, and do all of our billing and that sort of thing. So, many years ago, Pace, we were kind of on the QuickBooks platform. There were some things that didn't quite work for us, and then we kind of went into this customizable spreadsheet zone. And then we were introduced to CoConstruct, which is a platform designed for general contractors. And look, there's lots of them out there, and you got to do your due diligence in terms of figuring out what makes sense for you as a builder to use and what you think your clients are going to take to, right? Because you don't want it too complicated on the client side. You want it kind of simple, but there's still a learning curve to all this stuff no matter what. But in any case, CoConstruct is a platform that we use. Builder Trend owns CoConstruct, and we found that CoConstruct has worked great for us. So we never really switched into Builder Trend, which is another great platform from what I hear. But in any case, yeah, the CoConstruct platform has really been great for us. And I think there's pluses and minuses to everything, but we've been using CoConstruct, gosh, 5 or 6 years now. And it's a way for us to build our estimates into, and we do all of our contracts in there. So our clients can sign the contract online. All of the change orders are done through that platform so that they can view and sign them. And then all of our invoicing is done on there, and they can see the balance of what's left on the project. So, you know, from a builder standpoint, it really helps us organize everything day to day. And I think, Pace, you're going to piggyback on some organizational talk as well. But from a client standpoint, I think it's important as you're interviewing builders to kind of understand what they use as a platform that could help you as the client, right? Are they just giving you an estimate on pieces of paper? And when they bill you, is it is it a piece of paper? Is it just an email with an Excel spreadsheet? Mistakes can be made on Excel spreadsheets and that sort of thing. I think that, Pace, you and I have found that through this software, because of how it's built, it accounts for less mistakes. I'm sure, like, we're humans and mistakes happen, but less so in that sort of platform. So I think from a client perspective, try to understand what your contractor is providing you in that world of software, so that you can kind of view the project through its entirety, right? Our platform also has the ability to do scheduling, so you can kind of see how that changes through the project. But yeah, I think it's a great product, something that is useful to both parties, contractors and clients alike.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is over my career. There's been really three chapters, I think. And I think that what we're doing now is the best chapter, even though there are, like you said, there's pros and cons to everything. And I think even more than that, like, every builder handles things a little bit differently. And I think you'd agree that at the core of what we do is our estimate, right? All of the billing, like all of the money is really, it's just centered on the estimate. A con for me and what we're using now is the way it presents to a client. I used to like our custom Excel spreadsheet just in the way it sort of laid out the various trades and presented the pricing to the client. However, what we're doing now is just like you said, it's less error prone and it's so much easier to bill from the estimate, which was a challenge for us before. So there's, for me, there's one real obvious con, but there's so many pluses. But I mean, ultimately, like you said, it's about communication. Like this platform for us, it's communicating money, like what's been done, what's upcoming. It communicates the schedule, it communicates the contract. We no longer use it as our communication platform. We've gone back to straight email for that. Um, but we use it for so many things, and it's a central hub. Like, years after the project is complete, the homeowners still have this archive of everything that went into their house. And so, whether they're selling their house or they're getting ready to do additional work or they're just wondering about a warranty or what a product was, they've got everything kind of centralized. And that's a real benefit to using a more formal platform like this.
I mean, I think that we've talked a lot about organization and how this platform really helps us with that. But why don't you tell us what's on your mind? Because I think you want to dive into some organizational talk a little bit.
Well, I mean, it ties into this to our CoConstruct platform as well, but it's really about the importance of organization for a general contractor. You are only as good as your organizational skills, and it applies to everything that we do. Um, you know, when you get to the early phases of pricing, all the way through to your final bill that you provide, there's changes that happen along the way, and being able to track and see how designs and decisions have changed and how the pricing has changed along with it, having a record, just an accounting really, if you will, of a project is so important as a contractor. You never want to be in a he said she said situation, so being able to go back to a paper trail of just the life of a project is so important. Organization on, your email, communication that you receive, keeping it in a folder, the materials you're purchasing, right? Keeping all of your account receivables and your receipts together in a folder, right? Just make your life so much easier. God forbid if there's ever any sort of a legal dispute, just having everything compiled by job, and then within that, like by various trades, it makes your life so much easier. It allows you to work so much more efficiently and just everything stems from that. From that organization, you can communicate better. You can be more confident that what you're communicating is actually right.
Yeah, I consider myself a very organized person. I can't really function unless everything is kind of in its rightful place per se. But it's interesting. You talk about folders, paper folders. I mean, it's kind of an old school method, but I think right as builders, we have so much paperwork that comes in, and you're great at those paper folders. In fact, you and I both have notebooks that we kind of have chicken scratch on sometimes, and I actually find myself writing some chicken scratch that sometimes I might go back to and not really understand what I wrote. And I tend to sometimes throw those pieces of paper out. But you, my friend, you save every bit of chicken scratch and you put it in a folder. And I've actually seen it come back to light where it has benefited you. So kudos to you. And I think some of that has finally rubbed off on me after doing this for 100 years. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, there's an infinite number of ways to be organized. You're right. For me, just my generation, right? A notebook makes sense. And
the
and
old
I
generation. What
yeah,
generation is that? What are
it's
you?
old, just old generation.
Are you
Like
a baby boomer?
I'm a Gen X, thank you.
Okay, okay.
Um, that there's something tied to a notebook and my thinking, right? I'm going to use the word creative process, but like when we're going through our early phases of pricing, right? That chicken scratch that I do, it's really locked into my way of thinking. I can't. I've tried to kind of migrate to more of a digital setup. I've tried to just start by typing, and I can't. Like there's something that I've learned that's trained me to sort of write things out a certain way, and then after that initial sort of phase, I then kind of translate it to notes and various digital things. But I think whatever works for you, and then finding an organizational system that works within that is different for everybody.
So how do you go about organizing your emails? We get so many emails. We're inundated with emails, whether it's for work or other things. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean,
I,
for
I know
us,
what
it's
you do, but tell the people what you do.
well, to me, it's similar, right? It's a file tree. So, like with my particular email that I use, it's just building a tree, and everything is project based. There's some folders within that. I mean, it allows me to easily get to information, and I think without some sort of a tree, um, you're dead in the water. So, like I've been doing that, I think, since college or fresh out of college. And, like you're right. I can go back, a notebook from the '90s for a work project, and I can pull it out of a banker box in my office. Like everything that I've ever written down, I've got filed away in a folder, and it's come into play, and I'm not talking like a warranty type concern, but a homeowner reaching out like a decade plus, multiple decades later, and just saying, "Hey, any chance you remember that paint color?" Like I can actually go to a box and I can go to a folder and I can pull it out and I can tell them. And I mean, there's just for me, there's like a comfort in that.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I think we've hit organization hard. Let's move into something interesting on a project, shall we? We have a client of ours that we have done a complete full house renovation for. Gosh, how many years ago? 10 years ago?
12, maybe we started
10, 12, 6, 7? I don't know.
six,
In any
seven.
case, we find ourselves going back there kind of on an annual basis to do certain odds and ends for him. Once you're a client of ours, always a client, no job too small. We're kind of always there for you. So, for his house, there's a lot of maintenance that has to be done every year on the exterior of the house. So we're kind of always there doing that. But between those maintenance calls, there are occasional larger projects that he likes to have us do on the house. When, for example, we did a large media room project for him, right? And a lot of those things are outdated because they were 10 or 12 years ago that we put those in. And so, one of the projects we're working on now for him is kind of redoing some of the equipment in there and some of the finishes inside there. But I think this conversation is kind of led into a decision that that particular client made, and that decision was to purchase a new vehicle, right? And when you buy a vehicle, you don't really think how it's going to impact your home per se. And he drove that vehicle home, and it was rubbing against the driveway. So I think the moral of this story is when you start looking at, things in your life that you want to purchase and that are going to live at the house, think about how they might impact things in the house. So, we had to come over there and grind down the driveway. And look, it wasn't the end of the world, but, you don't want to buy a new car and find that you're going to be rubbing against the ground. So I don't know. There's always little things that happen, but I'm sure you could add to this, huh, Pace?
It's interesting. I mean, I think it's about this comes back to choices, right? There's approaching the design of your house very generally, and then there's the approach where everything is very custom. Like every area, every nook, your little coffee station, your garage, workstation, um, whatever, pick a room. The more custom something becomes, it's inevitable that people are going to change like a habit in their life or something that they use. So in this case, that new car purchase triggered conflict, right, with the driveway.
Yeah.
But the more custom you are, the more more of these things you're going to run into as you change, you know, how you live your life or the products that you use in your life. So just very interesting, you know, and in a lot of ways, it's an argument for um, a general approach to your home design.
No doubt. Well, some things to think about, right? We've got think about your contractor. Think about the platform they're going to bring to the table. Think about the things that you're going to buy that could affect your quality of living or the requirement of bringing a contractor in to do some changes to make something work, and stay organized, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the other side of that too, right? Oh, you've bought a product that's different in your world, and you need to make a change to your house is trends, right? And you and I talk about this all the time. Like every 10 years, like design trends shift. And so we find ourselves, you know, if you've worked long enough, you know, you've worked through a trend. And like for me, like an obvious example to pick on is like maybe a marble countertop, right? There was a period of our career that's really all we put in, and we've migrated away from that trend. And those things are just really interesting to me.
You're talking about trends, and it's making me think about future-proofing homes, right? I mean, over the years, we've done so much in the wiring world to future-proof our homes, and we used to just run coax like to every room, and we would try to think about, oh, Cat 6 wire to this room or to that room, running toss link cables to this room or that room. But out of all of those wires, I think the trend that has outlasted everything is Cat 6 wire. You could pretty much abandon everything else, right? I mean, what are your thoughts on that when people are thinking about future proofing their home? I'm getting into another topic, but the word trend has kind of made my mind go in that direction.
Well, it actually makes me think of the argument that you and I had this morning about AI, right? And how fast things are moving. Can you
Wow,
really answer
this
that?
conversation is about to take another major turn, but keep going. I love it.
We'll save this for a future podcast for sure. But it's the point is, can you know the future, right? Can you future proof? And the answer is certainly no, right? I think that we've got a long run out of our Cat 5 and Cat 6, but how much longer, I don't know. And there's a whole wave of smart home stuff that's going to be hitting in the next couple of years that's going to really change the way we do a lot of things. So, yeah, you can't future proof. I mean, you can try. You can I think maybe extend the life or the livability of a house, but you can't future proof it.
Yeah, wow. Well, AI is obviously the biggest topic out there worldwide. So maybe on one of our episodes, we can dive into some AI conversation and how it relates to what we do.
Like I bet you didn't even know that I am an AI agent of myself. So,
Yeah, I
I
could
had a
tell.
great time joining you, but,
You're very fake. I could tell. And the hats are. I mean, who
you can
wears those?
tell because I've smiled a couple of times, and I wouldn't do that.
That was definitely a dead giveaway.
Yeah,
Okay, enough of the banter. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I am your host, Adam.
and on pace.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us on Build Connected. For more stories, insights, and ideas, visit diamondhomerestoration.com or find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. We hope you will too.